Hi everybody, it's Greg here, Greg Sharp. I am very fortunate to be one of the co-writers on Werewolf the podcast, and I'm also extremely fortunate to get to play some of the characters too. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who listens to Werewolf the podcast, whether you tune in every week or you're an occasional dabbler, because with you tuning in and listening, that's what makes it all worthwhile for us. Special shout out to all the lunatics in the Facebook group, and for those of you that are new listeners, I'm lucky enough to be the voice actor for Simon de Montfort, as well as William Marshall, and more recently Belfast as the Unclaimed. So a big Merry Christmas from me, and a Happy New Year from me, ya bastards.
Hi there, it's Dee here. I'm the voice of Lucy, and that sassy black demon cat Trudeau. I just want to thank Fen and Greg for their imaginations and storytelling, and I want to wish you all a peaceful holiday season. Thank you for listening to our lovely little podcast, and just remember, don't be too naughty. You never know who might be keeping score.
Hi, happy holidays everybody. This is Fen. I'm one of the writers alongside Greg and one of the voice actors alongside everyone else. We have the wonderful Greg who plays loads of characters. We have the wonderful Dee who plays loads of characters. We have the wonderful Yvonne who plays loads of characters. I'd also like to thank Jim this year and Shonda and my big bro Chris for stepping in when things got a little bit sticky. Thanks to Grendel Press. They've been supporting us. They're the greatest horror publishers out there. Look for Greg's books to be released very soon under their banner. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Have a great one. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, this is Karen, the voice actor of Sally and Eleanor.
Oh, and the witch as well.
Oh, and the witch. Am I not a vampire too?
You are at some points, yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody! Thanks for not killing off my character because Fen is evil and apparently Sally was meant to die this year, but you all saved me! Woo! So Sally's looking forward to a Happy New Year as well. Thanks, guys! Bye!
Well, I fucking hate Christmas. Not in the theatrical grumbling way that humans hate it, complaining about cues or the music beginning in October or the wrong sort of cranberry sauce, but in the older way. The way predators hated bonfires, the way gods hated prayers sung too loudly. Christmas makes people careless, and tonight it made students drunk. They spilt out the university gates in a laughing, shouting knot of scarves and breath clouds, antlers bobbing on heads that had never known hunger or terror or the sound of bones snapping properly between, teeth. I hated them. Not for any reason, I just hated them. They sang badly, which I hated. They bumped into one another and laughed in response, which I hated. Someone dropped a bottle and cheered when it shattered, which I hated. I followed them on from the shadows for fun because I hated them. The hunter follows the prey. I mean, it wasn't a challenge. I could have killed them all quickly and quietly, boringly. I hated that. Fenrir followed too. He wanted to kill him. He didn't care that it would be easy. He just really wanted to kill him.
Let me,
Fen murmured from the back of my skull. His voice a low velvet growl threaded with ancient delight.
They're loud. They're slow. They smell like sugar and fear. And I hate that.
He was mocking me. Well, it was the only thing that could, really. I smiled at his humour. I flexed my shoulder out of habit. The arm was slowly coming back. Well, of course it was. Pale, newly grown, still faintly wrong in the way regenerated things always were. It will feel good again soon. It ached like a memory that refused to fade. The pain hadn't dulled yet. It wouldn't, not for a few days. I could still remember the sound made when Monty's knife went through the muscle and the bone. The smell of the blood as it hit the book and the book drank it greedily. The way that they had all watched my pain, my sacrifice. The students laughed again. My fingers twitched. I so wanted to.
They don't know.
Fen said softly.
They don't know what you've given to them. They don't know hell is wobbling like a badly balanced crown. They don't know angels are about and that demons are playing middle management.
They're children, Fen, I muttered.
The bloody prayer.
Fen corrected gently. One of the students, a boy with a Santa hat slipping sideways, staggered slightly too close to the alley where I stood. He looked into the shadow that stood there. Our eyes met, just for a moment, just a horrid moment. Just in that moment, I let mine glow gold. I showed the wolf stare. I let my teeth lengthen a fraction so he would notice. I let the world sharpen. Reality appeared but did not quite bite. The boy froze. The prey part of him froze. I stared at him as a beast. He stared at me as a pathetic kill. Possibly. I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. The boy laughed nervously, mistook it for a joke and hurried back to his friends. A killing joke. I shook my head. The need to fucking hurt was there. Fen's need to kill and mine to destroy those nice things. The group vanished down the street singing something obscene about mistletoe. The boy would forget that moment soon. His brain would clear it from tonight's memories. It didn't sit well with what the night was really about. Comfort, friendship, warmth, security and celebration. None of which are, I'm afraid, real. The night closed around me again, somewhat like a favourite coat. The night was my world. I revelled in the chill, the smells, the opportunities it afforded. Fen sighed, long and disappointed.
You are right boring now,
the wolf said.
Once we would have worn their joy like a trophy.
Once, I said. We were a monster.
Once,
Fen replied.
You were honest. And that were a monster. That's what you were. You were a monster. Now we're all fettered and pathetic.
He spat. That hurt more than the loss of an arm, to be honest. What had happened to me? I turned away from the university lights, saddened, and walked back towards the professor's town flats. Snow had begun to fall, not enough to cover sins, but enough to soften them. Windows about me glowed warm. Lovely things were happening behind the glass.
Don't forget that some horrors are happening behind that glass too,
said Fen. I sighed. Decorations blinked cheerfully, utterly indifferent to the fact that hell was currently without its rightful ruler and an angel was standing in a room, pretending not to notice the wrong questions. I got to the door and turned the key, entering the warmth of the hallway as a damp shadow. The flakes on my jacket melted away, as did my thoughts. The flat was quiet. Too quiet. The professor was still out doing his usual saving of the world with heaps of patronising nosity. Monty would be with him, pretending not to worry. No, that's a lie. He wouldn't be worried. He had an inherent faith in the prof that all would be okay. Eleanor would be... Who the fuck cared? I kicked off my boots and walked to the drinks cabinet. I knew it well, and I knew the professor better. It would be sacrilege not to check out what he had in there to warm a werewolf's chilled heart and his angry soul. Ah, just the thing. A Macallan 1977. Wow. This bottle must be worth 20 grand, and it was obviously just an everyday drink for the Duke of whatever he'd been Prince of, Professor de Montfort. I took a long, stiff mouthful, which surprisingly emptied the half-filled glass. Good thing there was plenty more there, Prof. I poured myself another considerable measure. In my mind, I justified it by trying to put a price on cutting my fucking arm off for his magical fucking shite that he made me do. A couple of measures of this delicious liquid were worth a fucking hand, weren't they? I smiled at my self-righteousness and sat heavily on the edge of the sofa. Fen curled inward behind me, restless.
You could stop,
Fen said.
You could leave him to it, Michael Lucifer, the professor and whatever he's trying to prove. You could stop being good.
I lay back and stared at the ceiling. I imagined it. No briefings, no rituals, no blood sacrifices, justified by necessity. Just the wolf, just the hunger, just the old nights where morality was something that happened to other people. My eyes closed. The room grew cold, not draft cold, not winter cold, time cold.
Will,
said a voice that knew my name the way that steel knows the hand that forged it. My eyes snapped open. A man stood by the hearth, broad-shouldered and unmistakably solid, dressed not as a ghost ought to be dressed, but as a knight who'd refused to die properly. His cloak was travel-worn, his sword was peace-bound, but not forgotten. Behind me, faint and enormous, I felt Fen stir. There was recognition flooding through him like fire. William Marshall smiled.
Come on, lad,
said the greatest knight who had ever lived.
Let's remember who you were, shall we?
I smell the battle before I see it. Iron, blood, wet wool, fear, hot, animal, bursting out of men who still believe there's something more than just meat in mail. Fen stretches inside me the way he always does when history turns violent, pleased as a wolf at the sound of a door left open and a mewling baby within. This isn't memory, it's placement. William Marshall has dragged me here by the scruff of my soul. The field slopes gently as if the land itself is trying to pretend nothing awful will happen on it. Banners snap in the wind, spears bristle, men shout prayers they no longer believe in. Somewhere, a priest is already rehearsing last rites like a man warming his hands over a fire. And there, Christ alive, there's William, young, broad, glorious in the ugly way only the truly living ever are. His mail is battered, his surcoat torn, his sword nicked and hungry. He looks exactly as he should, a man built to endure horror and call it duty and loving every fucking moment of it. Fen snarls his approval.
That one.
Fen thinks.
That one kills properly.
The horns sound, the lines collide. I've seen my fair share in modern war, guns, bombs, distance. This is different. This is intimate. Medieval violence is a conversation you have with someone's body. William is everywhere, shoulder checking a man into the mud, crushing a face with his shield rim, splitting another's collarbone so clearly I hear the crack over the screaming. He fights like a storm with a moral justification, and God help me, I get it. I understand it. Every time his sword bites, something in my chest loosens. The world becomes simple. There is right here. There is now. There is the next man to fall. Fen laughs, thrilled. Excitement ignites him.
This is honesty,
he says.
This is what we are.
But then I see the boy. He can't be more than 15. Too big a helmet, shaking hands, eyes wide with the terrible realization that legends don't tell you how heavy a spear feels when you don't want to use it. His boots are far too big and are at the moment filling with his own piss. The boy stumbles. William turns. There's no malice to it. It's just momentum, training, survival, and William kills him. It's efficient, merciful even. The boy barely has time to scream, but the scream still happens. Something twists hard in my gut, just as William's sword twists in the boy's guts, releasing them to the daylight. The battle drags on. Hours maybe. Time collapses into mud, breath and pain. William is hurt twice and keeps going. Of course he does. He might look human, but in this moment he's more of the werewolf than I've ever been. He is mortally wounded, then just shakes it off with a laugh as he heals and kills more. It's not fair on his foe. It's not fair. Fair. What fucking bullshit. This is how it should be. Men rally around William because that's what humans do. They orbit violence that believes in itself. Eventually the field quietens, but the dying don't. William stands among them, panting, blood-slicked, victorious in the way only the living can be while standing on the fallen. He squats and wipes his blade clean on a corpse's torn tabard. Not blood, much more than that. Gore, guts, and no glory. And finally he looks at me.
There you are, you see?
He says, grinning like a man who hasn't yet learned better.
We held them.
stopped them, like.
I look at the field. Bodies everywhere. Men who lost. Wives who won't know about this until someone counts. Children yet to be born who will grow up angry about today. Stopped them from what? I ask quietly. William frowns.
You know, from taking more, from doing worse.
Fen bristles.
Coward talk. Willie fought and won.
I kneel by the boy William killed. His eyes are open. They don't accuse, they don't forgive, they just are. William, I say, how many battles do you think you fought? He laughs.
God, I don't even know. Enough, probably.
And did it end the violence? His grin fades on those bloody features as he casts his mind into thought. I stand my question again. Did it make the world better? He looks around the field. The crows are already gathering like they've been invited. He exhales a tired human sound.
No, I don't think it did.
He admits. Then absurdly, he chuckles. Fen goes quiet. William wipes his hands on his surcoat, which is so heavily coated in red that it only adds to the mess on his hands. He suddenly spits. His eyes fall to the body at his feet. History's greatest knight looks older.
Violence doesn't finish things well. It just, changes who gets hurt next.
I wait. I let the words settle. He looks at me gently now.
You can walk away from this path now, lad. You don't have to keep being simply what you're good at.
The battlefield fades, mud turns to shadow, the screams recede. I meet his eyes. I don't want to do good, I tell him honestly. You, William, kid yourself that you were. It's not our job to make the world a better place. Fen bares his teeth in agreement. William Marshall sighs, not disappointed, just sad. And the world breaks up around us. I awake, I think. I try not to think of what has just occurred and close my eyes to readdress my rest. Sleep doesn't come easily when your bones remember how to kill. I'm lying on the professor's sofa, ancient leather, faintly smelling of old books and antiseptic, and listening to Fen breathe inside my skull like a tide pulling at ashore. Outside, Christmas still exists. Somewhere there are more people singing badly, drunk on booze and optimism. Somewhere there is laughter. Somewhere there is a world that does not know how close it is to losing hell or heaven or both. I close my eyes and imagine just letting it all go, just once. Fen perks up at the thought.
We could.
He whispers.
We were happy when we were monsters.
That is when the room changes, not with light, with absence. The air grows thick as though the fly itself has decided to remember something it would rather forget. The smell comes first, petrol, blood, old cigarette smoke and slush-coated tarmac. Then the weight of another presence settles at the foot of the sofa. Casual, familiar, fucking unbearable. I don't need to look.
Dinner,
She says.
you always look first and then you pretend you didn't know it was me.
I sit up anyway. Sally O'Neill is leaning against the wall like she always used to, arms folded, head tilted, eyes sharp enough to cut guilt into clean slices. She looks 17 and not a day older, which tells me immediately that this isn't mercy. This is a memory. She hasn't changed, not really. Same battered jacket, same boots that walked away from places that never deserved her. Same look that says she's already worked out that you're lying. She looks beautiful. You're not dead, I say. She snorts.
Congratulations. Still as observant as ever, eh?
Fen goes very quiet. You shouldn't be here, I say. You survived, you escaped, you built something new.
I did.
She agrees.
And then I felt you were thinking about becoming a monster again.
She pushes off the wall and steps closer. The room stretches, the walls dissolve. We're no longer in the flat. We're back on that petrol station forecourt where we first met, deep in the Scottish mountains, in the fresh, deep snow. A younger me sits inside my Land Rover Defender deciding how to kill a girl with a backpack and a bad attitude. Not if I was going to kill her, but how? Her.
You were gonna tear me throat out.
Sally says conversationally.
You'd already thought about it and how much you'd enjoy it.
I watch myself hesitate. But then you were fun when we talked. You made me laugh and smile. Humans can't be fun without dying, I mutter.
You liked that I wanted to kill my parents.
She said with a big smile that didn't reach her eyes. That too. I hear a little shame in my voice. What? Why shame? What do I feel shame for? The scene shifts violently to her house, her family's house, the shouting, the stepfather's smell of sweat and entitlement, her mother's silence. Worse than screaming. Sally's voice trembles as she narrates it, though. She stands steady beside me.
You gave me a choice.
She says.
You and Finn, you told me who, and then you stood there and watched.
I see her break again, that knife shaking in her hand, courage collapsing under the weight of being human. Will, me watching me, I don't hesitate. I remember the sound so well. She doesn't look at that part.
I couldn't do it.
She says quietly.
And you hated me for that.
Which I did. The memory moves faster now, like it wants to get through this as much as I don't. I killed though she couldn't and left. Blood, tears, horror on her part. Then me leaving. Then the wolf. Az's wolf soul, the wolf soul that belonged to the wife I murdered to protect the wife that I had, that wife from me. Silver and vast the wolf soul, and grieving, stepping out of death itself to sit beside a broken girl and refuse to let her be alone. Sally's eyes finally soften.
She saved me.
She says.
Not you.
She nods at the shining soul that sits by her now, protective against me even in this dreamt moment. I swallow.
I went to your tribe.
She continues.
Surrogate, I tried to kill the wolf inside you, because I thought that was the only way to stop the pain.
Fen flinches.
I failed.
She says.
Again.
The world shifts once more. The vampire queen's lair. Screaming children. My children. In my mind I say, her children. They were our children. I feel my knees give way.
You didn't try to save them. You did not need to, luckily. They lived although you thought them dead.
She says, voice steady but not cruel.
But you avenged them, and you didn't leave me that time.
I left after, I whisper.
Yes.
She agrees.
Because you love me.
That hurts more than anything else tonight. She steps back, beginning to fade, not into light, but into consequence.
You think being a monster means freedom?
She says.
But all it ever gave you was survivors who had to live with what you did.
She smiles sadly.
I survived, Joelle. That doesn't mean you get to stop surviving yourself.
The room snaps back into place. She's gone. Fen exhales slowly.
She's right.
He says. I know, I answer. I stare at the ceiling, listening to distant laughter outside, and for the first time all night, I don't want to kill it, but I still don't want to be good. And that That's the problem for the next ghost.
Lucifer. I span out of the nothingness at the end of my journey from the office of the professor to... Okay, where the... I was discombobulated for a moment. A room. A normal room. An earthly room. Wherever it was, I didn't plan to be here. That, more than anything, was what irritated me. Hell was in administrative freefall. Astaroth was on my throne doing whatever that was. A mortal was somewhere he shouldn't be, touching things that predate consent. Michael was above ground playing at righteousness with a man clever enough to make heaven uncomfortable. And I, right now, I was supposed to be fixing it. Instead, I was standing in a half-lit flat. I turned, trying to work out what had happened, and ended up watching Will the werewolf sit on the edge of a sofa like a sulking child. I smelt his mind and emotions. A bit like you humans sniff that packet of out-of-date ham from the fridge. I find sniffing a mind like his is better than getting right in there and digesting the contents. I might get the mental form of food poisoning if I dove straight into that head. Especially with the mind that was in that container. His mind smelt of blood. Blood on his conscience. Fresh blood, and not enough rage left for him to enjoy it. Oh, for the love of me, I muttered to the air without ceremony. I had appeared here. No thunder, no fire. I simply was. Arms folded, wings tucked, irritation radiating like heat from a faulty boiler. Will looked up, blinked, then smiled.
Oh, you,
he said.
Is this a festive visit? Unexpected like, but, oh, you're welcome.
I don't do Christmas, I snap. Not really my holiday to celebrate. He smiled at this. You're not on my naughty list today, so this shouldn't have been a stop for me. He sighs at that sentence. A sigh of sadness. Regret? I carry on regardless. I'm already late, and frankly, you're not important enough to justify the detour.
Yeah, it says it all, doesn't it? I'm not important enough.
He says forlornly. Not to me. I looked around for another soul I hadn't felt. There was none. Apart from that wolf soul thing called Fen. Oh, he had said that to himself. Bizarre. But this was Will. He was bizarre. Fenrir stirred behind him, amused. Amused. Always amused by me. I slightly hated that. Okay, what am I doing here? I won't ask how you did it. I have no time. I have a lot to do back home, I said quickly, and tried to get Will right to the point, which I knew would be an impossibility. He tilted his head.
You're doing the ghosts thing.
The what? I asked, confused.
You know, that what's it called? Christmas carol shite? I don't know.
My mind was ambushed at this point. Ghosts? Christmas carol? What the hell?
You know what I'm talking about. You know, what's his face's Christmas carol? You know, what's he called? Charlie Dickhead who wrote it or something.
Still nothing came to mind. Oh, I'm not doing the ghost thing, I said. I haven't got the time. This is just an unfortunate convergence of narrative tropes and cosmic obligation. Now, what do you want? He frowned a little, hurt at my lack of wanting to be there. Difficult to please a narcissist of his prodigious levels.
You're supposed to be showing me my, I don't know, future or something?
He huffed.
To be honest, I don't really give a shit if you do or don't, but that was what all the story was about, wasn't it? I'd never read it, but I think the Muppets version, you know, the film, was pretty accurate, wasn't it?
I could feel the rage start to build in me. I was here partly to do with the Muppets. The Muppets. The Muppets. I was Satan. Right. Okay. Right. I tried not to destroy the world in this moment with fire and pestilence. I'm supposed to be in hell preventing a coup, so let's be brisk. I would ask you to tell me what you have an issue with, but I can skim it from your big fat head very easily. Pause. So, you're considering going back to being a monster? Go for it. See? Sorted now. I'll just go...
I'm afraid it's not that simple.
Oh, my mind exploded. Millions burned in a greater heat in the pits of hell. Demons screamed as I transferred my mental pain to them. Horror racked the world, creating nightmares in minds that had been having beautiful dreams about puppies and kittens, throwing the dreamers awake, sweating and blubbering. Pause. Fine. Let's not worry about the end of hell, heaven and earth. Let's make this about you. Let's see how this all pans out for you. For a self-centered egomaniac such as yourself.
Well, all right then. But is it going to take long? I'm really tired.
I can't describe my reaction to this, just understand that it was terrible for those it affected. But I snapped my fingers. And that snap caused the reaping of an untold number of souls. A flash, an arrival. The world we arrived in did not burn. That was the problem. Will stood beside me in a future city that looked depressingly familiar. Taller buildings, worse politics, the same human misery repackaged with better screens. Wars happened, famines happened, pandemics came and went like seasonal fashion. Hell still existed, heaven still preened. Humanity continued its proud tradition of almost learning. Will wasn't there. Well, not there. He was there, but not in any visible way, not in any meaningful way. He killed when it pleased him, disappeared when it didn't. A monster in the margins. No great atrocities, no great mercies. He mattered to exactly no one who mattered. Lucifer, me, watched timelines cascade, adjusting variables. The issues in hell were forgotten for a moment. This just did not make any sense. No, I said, this is wrong. Will frowned.
I did think it'd be worse than this.
So did I admitted, annoyed. Usually when someone like you chooses selfishness, the universe responds with the equivalent of another eternal scream. But it didn't. The wars still happened, the bombs still fell, the powerful still fed on the weak. Will's presence made no relative difference. Humanity destroyed itself at the same leisurely pace. He was irrelevant to its story. Fen growled softly, wounded by the idea. Will swallowed.
So, I don't make it any worse then?
You don't make it anything, I said sharply. You vanish. You rot quietly. History doesn't notice. I don't even get a decent catastrophe out of it. I scratched my head physically and mentally. I disliked that outcome more than I should have. Will looked at the city.
That's, bleak.
Yes, I said. Welcome to a world of indifference. I pinched the bridge of my nose. I looked at my wrist for a watch to check the time. One suddenly appeared. Its face didn't tell me the time, it screamed at me to get on with it. Literally. I should really listen. But let's look at the other possible future. Because now I'm annoyed. Again, the stomach-turning spin, and we were here. Somewhere. This one hurt. I didn't expect that. The year was 50 of them year things that you use from now. The world was scarred, but standing. Different borders, fewer nations. A fragile, ugly piece stitched together with exhaustion and memory. And Will. Will was everywhere. Not statues, not worship. Something quieter, more dangerous. Archives, footnotes, declassified reports. The Third World War had almost happened. Not the dramatic version, the real one. Sanctions, resource collapse, autonomous weapons, a cascade failure of treaties and pride. It had begun, as all good apocalypses do, with someone being certain they were right. Will had been there, not as a soldier, as a messenger. He had worked with the professor, Simon de Montfort, older now, slower, still brilliant, to expose the supernatural influences nudging humanity towards annihilation. Angels whispering escalation, demons feeding paranoia, ancient systems desperate to force prophecy into completion. Will had helped tear those systems apart, literally in some cases with his teeth and claws. He stood between missile silos and seraphim, between governments and things that wore righteousness like a weapon. He bled in rooms where decisions were made. He broke treaties with his hands and sealed others with threats no human could make. Fenrir had roared in places that were never meant to hear myth again. And when it came down to it, when the final escalation protocol triggered, when someone had to physically stop the chain, Will had done it. Alone. He had held a threshold open while the professor dismantled a celestial failsafe written into creation itself. A thing heaven had buried in humanity's fear of extinction. Will had stood there while reality tried to erase him for defiance. It killed him, messily, heroically, irrevocably. The war stopped. History rewrote itself around the gap he left. There were books now, not flattering ones, honest ones. He was remembered as a monster who chose better, a saviour who never asked forgiveness, a name soldiers whispered without knowing why it made them cry. Will stared. Fenrir was silent. Lucifer, me, felt something unhelpful tighten behind my ribs. Well, I said carefully, that's unexpected and somewhat inconvenient. Will laughed. It came out rough.
I fucking die.
I ran my mind over all the living things of the planet and... Yes.
I die saving the world?
Yes.
Bloody typical.
He laughed. I scowled. I don't like it.
Well, me either, to be honest.
That figures. I expected corruption. Or tyranny. Or at least a decent body count, I waved at the timeline. Instead, you do the one thing that makes heaven smug and hell irrelevant. Will looked at me.
You're annoyed.
I am furious, I said. Because this future works, and I don't understand why. We stood there, looking at a world that had survived itself by the narrowest margin. Finally, I sighed. A lot to think about. I have to go. I have to save hell.
Weird idea, saving hell.
I nodded.
Well, thank you for whatever this was,
he said. It was a mistake, I told him. I turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I added, if you do choose the good path, try not to enjoy it too much. It annoys everyone. I vanished. Behind me, Will sat alone, the weight of futures pressing down on him. As I flew, I watched him disappear into the distance. He looked thoughtful, and I saw him laugh. Intrigued, I paused my journey to watch what he would do. I am Lucifer, the eternal voyeur after all. He spoke words I did not hear directed at Fen, his wolf soul. I watched them both laugh as he reached into his pocket and removed a coin, which he flicked into the air. I read his lips as he called it. I read the word tails on those lips, Of course it was Tails. He was a werewolf after all. He caught the coin in a new tight fist. I smiled and continued my journey before he revealed the result. Some things I shouldn't know. I know that.